What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're currently watching states redrawing their districts, and this is mid-decade they're redrawing their districts, which is something that is not very common. It does happen, but it's not very common. However, this started in Texas because President Trump said that he wanted them to add 5 more Republican seats, and so they redrew their lines. And then that triggered California to say, well, look, we're going to redraw our lines too to offset what Texas is doing. And then you have some other states that are saying, we're going to redraw our lines as well to add seats, add Republican seats, add Democratic seats. So we're seeing this all over the U.S. So what does this mean, and what is this going to mean for the 2026 midterm election? So what I did is I asked AI. And so I'm going to show you, I've created a formula with AI. I'm going to show you what the anticipation is when it comes to how many seats Republicans can gain or Democrats can gain when it comes to their redistricting. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. If you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to take a look at our map here. So this is our current map. Now with Texas, I have the new lines drawn. Now with California, we don't have it yet because we're waiting for Prop 50, and so we'll make those changes as they come. But right now, there's a lot up in the air. Okay, and the courts some of these cases are going to have to go to court anyway, so they could be held up. There is no guarantee that any of these states will be able to redraw their lines and have it get through the court system and be on the ballot for 2026. There's no guarantee. Even Texas is not a guarantee. Okay, but first thing I want to take a look at, our count. So Democrats currently have 215 seats in the House. Republicans have 220. You need 218 seats to carry the majority. And right now, Republicans have the majority, which means that Democrats would need to win 3 seats. If they can net 3 seats, they will take control of the House in 2026. And so that's what we're looking at. Those are the numbers. And so what does AI think when it comes to redistricting? Well, I have the answer. Let me go ahead and show you this. And so I asked AI a series of questions about redistricting and what the impact of redistricting will be. And so they gave me a prediction. And so we're going to go over this prediction. Now, first, I'll use Texas as an example, and then we'll go through all the different states. Now, there's some states that we know they're going to draw new lines, and there's some states that have talked about it, but they haven't really moved forward with it yet. So when it comes to Texas, Texas has already drawn the new lines, as well as it's been signed off by the governor. So it's official as of right now. However, we have court cases. And these court cases could keep this from happening. Even though the governor's already signed it, if you stall it in court and the court says, you know what, there's not enough time for us to draw these new lines before the 2026 midterms, well, guess what? It's not going to go anywhere. But right now, there's a good chance that it will go somewhere in Texas. And so the way that AI did this is they looked at probability. Okay, so the probability of this happening is pretty much 90% is what they're saying, 0.90. Now, the seats that will be impacted, right now, they're saying +4. Okay, there's no guarantee that they're going to get all 5 seats. As a matter of fact, one of the seats could go, a Democrat can still win one of those seats, or even 2 of those seats, or even more. We don't know. All they're saying, all Texas is saying is, look, we're going to draw these new lines where we're going to have more Republicans than Democrats in those districts. And so that's why we think those districts will go for Republican. But there's no guarantee because we don't know what's going on in the economy. We don't know how people are going to react to the current administration. They might say, look, President Trump is not doing a good job. We want a referendum against the president, and so we're going to vote some of these incumbents or some of these politicians that are running on the Republican ticket. We're going to vote them out of office just because we don't like what's going on, even if it's in Texas, even if it's in Florida, even if it's in some of these red states. Okay, so we've looked at this. So we have the probability at 0.90. We have the seats at +4 for Republicans, and then we have this +3.6. Now I'll go over this. So they weighed this, and they're weighing this by using the percentage of probability and the number of seats that they think Republicans will be able to gain. Okay. Now this chart is done based on Republicans. So the plus here, +1, that's Republican. -1, that's Democrats. So Democrats would gain a seat. Okay, that's what that's showing there. Okay, so let's look at some of the different states here. So we just went over the first one there. This plus 3.6, that is when you calculate 0.90 and plus 4. Okay, now we look at some of the other states here. We have Missouri. So we know Missouri, they're drawing a new map there, and there's a lawsuit that's already been filed. So most of these cases are there's going to be court cases on these, okay? You're going to have the opposition, wherever that is. So if it's in California, you might have Republicans say, okay, we're going to take you to court and try to hold it up in court. Democrats are doing the same thing in Texas. In Missouri, Democrats are doing the same thing. So they're going to try to see if the court can intervene. And if the court does intervene, then that means that we might not see this in 2026, even though they drew new lines. And so what I'm trying to say is there's no guarantee at this point. And so the probability here is 70%, 0.70, okay? Seats gained for Republicans, +1. And then you do the calculation, and then you get plus 0.7, okay? So, and these are the seats, 0.7 seats or plus 3.6 seats. And this is for Republicans, okay? All right. California, we have Prop 50. They'll be voting on that next month. And so this is a ballot measure, so there's no guarantee. We don't know what's going to happen. So right now, the probability they're saying is 50-50, okay? We know that Proposition 50 right now, yes on Proposition 50 is a little bit ahead when you're looking at different polls. So they're favored to win. I would say it leans for yes to Prop 50. And a yes to Prop 50 would say that the constituents are okay with drawing new lines, temporarily drawing new lines, I think until 2030. And so that's what that would mean. A no on Prop 50 would mean no new lines drawn. So it would be the same old districts would come back into play. Okay, so back to our chart. So we have 0.50, so that's 50%. And seats gained by Democrats. So it's -3 for Republicans. So we say 3 seats would be gained by Democrats if they're able to draw these new lines. And they do the calculation and you have -1.5. Okay, Louisiana. Now we know right now the Supreme Court is looking at a case coming out of Louisiana. We don't know what's going to happen with that. So right now they're saying the probability is 0.50. And so we heard the oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court, and it looks like the Supreme Court is up to making some changes to the Voting Rights Act. And so we could see Republicans in Louisiana benefit as a result of that. And so when we're looking at this chart, what AI did is they said, okay, well, we see it's 50-50 chance, but we're saying that it would favor Republicans, so +1, and then the calculation is right there. Okay, now looking at Utah. Utah is being forced by the court to redraw their districts. Okay, not all of them, but I think 1 or 2 of their districts they have to redraw. This is a 70% probability, okay, and it could even be higher because when it comes down to it, the court has ordered this. And so when they redraw these lines, it's going to be a Democrat +1, okay? So it's going to be -1 for Republicans, so they'll lose a seat there. And so right now, that's the calculation. And so these states right here, these are the states where things are already in motion when it comes to redistricting. Okay, so what we're looking at here is when you calculate this, when you calculate all these numbers, then you come up with an expected shift. And this is plus 2.6 seats. That's for Republicans. And so what this is saying is Republicans could gain 2.6 seats. Let's just say 3 seats could be gained as a result of redistricting. Okay, but there's more. So AI went ahead and looked at some of the other states that are talking about redistricting. And so we're going to take a look at those as well. So we have North Carolina. Okay, so they're talking about redistricting. The probability is 0.60. Seats gained would be 1 for Republicans. And then here's the calculation. Looking at Ohio. Now, Ohio, they need to draw new lines. Okay, so they're going to need to do that in 2025. So this year, probability, and they're giving it 100%. Okay, so it has to be done. 1 seat gained by Republicans, and then there's the number there. And then we have Georgia. And we're talking about the Voting Rights Act case ongoing. Probability here is 0.35. Seats gained would be 1 for Republicans, and that's the calculation there. Looking at Indiana, and they're talking about redrawing, probability 0.45, seats plus 1 for Republicans, and there is the calculation there. Florida, court upheld 2022 map, and we have the calculation, or the probability here is 0.20, 1 seat for Republicans, and that's the calculation there. Now, understand here, when we're looking at these calculations, they go down. So you have 1 seat, but it's only a 20% chance of it happening. And so that's why these numbers are really low. So although you're seeing +1, +1, +1 for Republicans, you have to look at the calculations, because the calculation might show that it's really not going to move the needle that much. Okay, and we have Alabama, and so we have the map locked, no change, and that's 10%, -1 for Republicans, and then you have that -0.1 for, and the -1, again, that's Democrats. That means Democrats could gain a seat there. Okay, and then we have New York. Minor tweaks possible, and we have a 15% chance of that, and it's -1 for Republicans, and there's a calculation there. Okay, so when you look at that calculation, now we have plus 2.35 seats for Republicans, because remember, plus is Republican, minus is Democrat. So you have 2.35 and 2.6, or really was it 2.5, I believe it was. Let's go back up to the top. No, it's 2.6. Okay, so 2.6 and 2.35 gives you 4.95, rounded up. So we're looking at 5 seats. So with all of the redistricting, and I'm going through all these different states, on average, you're looking at about 5 seats that Republicans will be able to gain as a result of redistricting. Now, what does that mean in the big scheme of things? Well, I've already done a video on the House. How many seats right now, if we're looking at an election today, how many seats would Democrats be able to pick up, and how many seats would Republicans be able to pick up? I did a video on that. I'll post a link at the end of this video so you can check out the full video, but we're going to go to that chart because I want to show you that. Okay, so we're looking at this AI model, this forecast here. And like I said, if you want to check this out, you can check out the video. I'll have a link at the end of this video so you can check it out. But what I want to show you is the final results. These are the final results here. And this is the forecast. So what it's saying, and we'll just go over it really quickly, it's saying that Democrats plus 1.14, okay? For every 1 point, those are 10 seats. That's what this is showing us here. So Democrats are favored to win as of right now, just looking at the different metrics. And if you want to see those metrics, like I said, check out that video. But looking at the metrics that we used, the formula that we used from AI, it's saying that Democrats will pick up 11 seats. And so now we have more numbers, right? So redistricting, we're looking at 5 seats. We're looking at Democrats picking up 11 seats. However, at the beginning of this video, I said Democrats need to net 3 seats in order to take the majority. So they need to net the 3 seats, and then you add the redistrict seats. So you add 5 more seats. And so now we're at 8 seats. Republicans have an 8-seat advantage if you want to look at it that way. But what did we say? We said that Democrats right now, the projection is that they will be able to win 11 seats. So if they win 11 seats, then they will still be able to take the majority. And so you see how that works. So with all of the redistricting and all this talk that's going on right now, we're looking at an average of maybe 5 seats that will be gained by Republicans. That's not enough. They need to gain more seats in order to offset these 11 seats. If this is to be true, okay? These are all projections. This is an experiment. AI is taking a look at this and saying, yes, Democrats do have an advantage in the House. They have an advantage by 11 seats. Now, if those 11 seats don't happen, then guess what? Republicans can still maintain the majority, and these redistrict seats could actually help them. So I just wanted to go over that because I did have some people ask me, well, what about redistricting? How is that going to impact your formula when it comes to the House? And so that's the main reason that I wanted to do this video. Now, I want to keep these formulas separate. So gerrymandering formula, I want to have that separate. So we'll keep tabs on that. We'll come back. We'll show you what the latest information is, because things are going to be changing, because some of these states, as I earlier mentioned, they might not have time to redraw these lines and get it, on the ballot for 2026. And so some of these states right now, Republicans might not be able to gain a seat because they can't get this on the ballot. They don't have enough time to get the redrawing of lines on the ballot. And so that's why I want to keep these formulas separate. So we have one for the House, we'll have one for gerrymandering, we'll have one for the Senate, because I don't want to mix the gerrymandering with the House, because if we're looking at those together, we might not see some of these states being able to draw the new line. So that's the main reason for that. And so ultimately, I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this redistricting? Do you think it'll be maybe 5 seats for Republicans? Do you think it will be less, more? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.